They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. We'll make a film about a man that's sad and lonely. And all I gotta do is act naturally. Well, I bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can never tell. The movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you'll come and see me in the movies. Then I'll know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally. We'll make the scene about a man that's sad and lonely and begging down upon his bended knee. I'll play the part and I won't need rehearsing. All I have to do is act naturally. Well, I bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can never tell. The movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you'll come and see me in the movies. Then I'll know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally.
That was the song Act Naturally, done by the Beatles on the Help album, 1965. In this podcast, I want to talk about Ron DeSantis, a man who I find is the most disingenuous person in politics today. And that's saying a lot when you consider his competition being Donald Trump. When I think of DeSantis, I think of a man whose most important aspect of his life is maintaining power and control.
Having the most bizarre dating tactic I have ever heard. According to a former classmate, DeSantis would apparently tell dates he liked Thai food, but pronounced it thigh. And if they corrected him, he would make up an excuse and leave because, quote, he didn't want a girlfriend who corrected him.
Now, the thing that is most disgusting about Ron DeSantis is that how he tries to disguise control with the pretense of freedom.
Mr. Chief Justice, members of the Cabinet, and fellow citizens, from the Space Coast to the Sun Coast, from St. John's to St. Lucie, from the streets of Hialeah to the Speedway in Daytona, from the Okeechobee all the way up to Micanopy, freedom lives here in our great sunshine state of Florida.
Freedom, Ron DeSantis? Let's take a look at some of your ideas of what freedom is.
You do not have to wear those masks. I mean, please take them off. Honestly, it's not doing anything, and we got to stop with this COVID's theater. So if you want to wear it, fine, but this is ridiculous.
So, Mr. Freedom, why wasn't these students allowed to wear masks without feeling ridiculed by you during your little speech? You see, it wasn't the look that DeSantis was wanting, and he's all about show. And so when he saw students with masks on, he was pissed off because that wasn't the look he wanted the public to see. He expected blind obedience to whatever his wishes were, and you can hear it at the end. His other big buzzword besides freedom is wokeness, and his stance against so-called wokeness.
New college graduates go on to earn PhDs at a higher rate than many of the nation's other liberal arts colleges. New college students have received 74 Fulbright fellowships over the past 15 years, making the college among the top Fulbright factories in the state of Florida. But New College remains the target of DeSantis and his allies, the focal point of his anti-woke campaign against education that journalist Michelle Goldberg compares to the autocratic regime of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. When DeSantis took over the board of trustees at New College, he installed loyalists like Christopher Rufo, a conservative activist who's led the battle against critical race theory in public schools across the U.S., calling it the perfect villain for his conservative causes.
So here you have a college that doesn't teach students with blinders on, going against what DeSantis wants to believe as facts. What he does is he gets rid of the board that was there and brings in people that have the thinking that he does. So here you have it. DeSantis' idea of freedom is, as long as you agree with me, you're free to express yourself. If you differ with me, then you do not have freedom at all, and you're labeled as being woke. Another example, let's look at DeSantis' opinion on a AP course on African American studies.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is defending his administration's decision to block a course on African American studies from the state's public schools. The fight is just the latest in an ongoing culture war in that state that has become a hallmark of the DeSantis agenda.
As a retired educator, when I hear the situation that's occurring in the field of education in Florida, I really have to empathize for the teachers in this state. Having taught history myself, I just don't know whether I could ever survive in this state at this time. Chances are I would probably have been removed from my teaching duties. Because now in the state of Florida, they really don't want you to teach history. They really want you to teach myths. See, DeSantis doesn't want people to learn about history. As much as DeSantis likes to make fun of so-called woke people, he really is appealing to the China doll people. He's afraid if people really learn about history, it will shatter their lives. They'll fall to pieces just like a China doll. So let's look at another example of DeSantis' idea of freedom.
Last August, twice elected Florida State Attorney Andrew Warren, who is a Democrat, signed a public pledge that he would not prosecute people who seek or provide abortions in Hillsborough County, where he served. For that, Warren was removed from office by Governor Ron DeSantis. Again, not for anything he did, but for expressing his thoughts and beliefs about the right to abortion in a state where abortion is currently criminalized at 15 weeks and soon to be at 6.
So again, I would ask, Ron, where's your sense of freedom? Can't people express something that's different than what you believe in? And then, of course, we have his dispute with Disney.
This morning, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis escalating his fight against the house that Mickey built, pressuring state lawmakers to repeal Disney World's unique self-governing authority, the little-known Reedy Creek Improvement District that dates back to the late 60s.
They will be considering the congressional map, but they also will be considering termination of all special districts that were enacted in Florida prior to 1968, and that includes the Reedy Creek Improvement District.
So big bad Ron DeSantis decides that he's going to show Disney who's boss. And he's going to have his own board that's going to control things and how things are done with Disney. But there's only one problem.
Welcome back. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis learned an important lesson this week. Don't mess with the mouse. The Walt Disney Corporation has come out on top, at least for now, in the ongoing power struggle between the company and DeSantis to control the previously independent area that houses Disney's parks in the state of Florida. A new document, first reported by the Orlando Sentinel, reveals that just weeks before the board DeSantis established to take control of the area came into power, Disney moved to limit that new board's control, unbeknownst to the governor and the board itself. And they did it, at the time, under perfectly legal ways to do it. The company also invoked a rare legal clause that makes the move valid in perpetuity or until 21 years after the death of the last living descendants of King Charles. For real. Yes, the king over there. The board said that they will challenge the document. The fight between Disney and DeSantis started over Disney's political activities, namely their support of the LGBTQ community, as DeSantis continues his push to curtail LGBTQ visibility.
See, here's a perfect example of DeSantis huffing and puffing, and making a show of things, but never following through. What Disney did was in a public meeting. They were posted in local newspapers that this public meeting was going to occur, and yet nothing was done on the part of DeSantis. Because for Ron DeSantis, it really doesn't matter. It's the show. It's showing himself to be this big, powerful man who's going to show people what it means to be tough and a leader. Ron DeSantis, you're a fake. Mr. Big Talk on everything. When the charges came up against Trump and he stated that he was not going to participate in extraditing Trump to New York, Mr. Tough Guy. Yet,
there is one thing that has happened today, not the indictment itself. The thing that has happened today that does potentially pose a threat to us as a country is something that somebody completely outside this story, completely outside this criminal process, completely outside this news, decided to do in response to it. And that is something that happened within 5 minutes of Trump's lawyer first putting out the first statement to reporters that Trump would turn himself in for arraignment early next week. We got one Trump lawyer telling reporters early next week, Trump will turn himself in. Within 5 minutes of that first statement from Trump's lawyer, a Republican politician named Ron DeSantis, who is the governor of Florida, made this statement online, saying Florida will not assist in an extradition request, given the questionable circumstances at issue with this Soros-backed Manhattan prosecutor and his political agenda. And that's some of the verbiage in this statement from Ron DeSantis that echoes word for word.
See, now DeSantis knows that Trump's already going to turn himself in, but to sound like a big badass and to try to draw in some of those Trump supporters, he comes out with this statement, knowing that he's really not going to have to do anything about it, that Trump has already made the decision to turn himself in. But, you know, Ron DeSantis likes to put on a show. See, DeSantis can go on and on about his anti-abortion stance, his stance about guns, or look at his position about Ukraine. At first, he said the situation in Ukraine was a territorial dispute between Ukraine and Russia. When people began to react to that, he all of a sudden changed his position.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis seems to be modifying his stance on the war in Ukraine. Responding to a questionnaire from Fox News 2 weeks ago, DeSantis referred to Russia's invasion as a, quote, territorial dispute and said the U.S. should not get more involved. Now, though, in an interview with Piers Morgan, Governor DeSantis is calling Vladimir Putin a war criminal.
The unfortunate thing with all of this is DeSantis goes to the lowest common denominator amongst many of the people that support him. That low common denominator is basically hatred and racism. If you sit down and talk with any DeSantis supporter, I could almost guarantee that you're going to get a slight, maybe subtle hint of maybe some other racist hatred attitudes, and therefore why they are so enthralled for this man. So all this talk from DeSantis about freedom and Florida being such a free place, the scary part is that we move more and more into a fascist dictatorship-like style of government in the state of Florida. It's getting to the point where a Florida lawmaker proposed a bill that would require bloggers who write about Governor DeSantis or other elected officials to register with the state or face fines. So there you have it, the land of Ron DeSantis freedom. Doesn't sound like much freedom to me. It sounds like more like a little dictator who is fine for you to speak your mind as long as you agree with everything that he says.
I'm gonna rid myself a house in the shade of the freeway. Gonna Gonna pack my lunch in the morning and go to work each day. And when the evening rolls around, I go on home and lay my body down. And when the morning light comes streaming in, I'll get up and do it again. Amen. Say it again. Amen. I wanna know what became of the changes we waited for love to bring. Were they only the fitful dreams of some greater awakening? I've been aware of the time going by. They say in the end, it's the wink of an eye. And when the morning light comes streaming in, you'll get up and do it again. Amen. Caught between the longing for love and the struggle for the legal tender, where the sirens sing and the church bells ring and the junk man pounds his fender, where the veterans dream of the fight, fast asleep at the traffic light, and the children solemnly wait for the ice cream vendor. Out into the cool of the evening strolls the pretender. He knows that all his hopes and dreams begin and end there. The lovers that stay run through the night, leaving nothing but to choose off and fight, and tear at the world with all their might, while the ships bearing their dreams sail out of sight. I'm gonna find myself a girl who can show me what laughter means, and we'll fill in the missing colors in each other's paint by number dreams. And then we'll put our dark glasses on and we'll make love until our strength is gone. And when the morning light comes streaming in, we'll get up and do it again. Get it up again. I'm gonna be a happy idiot and struggle for the legal tender, where the elves take aim and lay their claim to the heart and the soul of the spender, and believe in whatever may lie in those things that money can buy. Oh, true love could have been a contender. Are you there? Say a prayer for the pretender who started out so young and strong, only to surrender